Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Erica.
And we're with AccuQuilt. And Erica, what more than anything else do quilters want?
Lynn, they want more time.
Time. And so we want to introduce you to the Go Fabric Cutter Starter Set, which is going to save you so much time.
It is. It's going to be 90% faster for you than other ways of cutting, and it's going to give you a safe, accurate cut every time.
Right, and the accuracy alone is just, that's my favorite part of it, because it saves me from making mistakes with my rotary cutter, and I get the perfect pieces.
And for me personally, I know it's been a huge spark to my creativity. I've attempted and completed projects that I never would have tried before because I wouldn't have trusted my cutting accuracy, and I wouldn't have wanted to spend the time cutting them.
Right, you've been doing a bunch of English paper piecing, haven't you?
I have been.
That is just wonderful. And the Go Fabric Cutter is also, it's very safe and it's so easy to use. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to show you everything you need to know to use the Go Cutter so that you are using this great tool in your sewing room.
Let's get started. Let's show them what's in the box.
All right, sounds good.
So when you first open your box, you're going to find a little quick guide, a little 1, 2, 3 guide with some basic information. So if you can't wait to get going, this is the first thing you want to look at. The next thing you're going to find is a registration card to register your product. We've got a great instruction booklet. It's going to have a fantastic chart on layers and a lot of great cutting information so you get your best cut every time. And then a mix and match quilt block booklet. And we're really excited about this. It's going to show you 12 quilt blocks that you can make just using what you've got in the box, as well as a sampler quilt that you see hanging behind us.
Right, so once Erica is going to go through what else you get in the box, but we are going to show you how to put together this really cool pinwheel block here in a little bit.
So the next thing you're going to get is a die. It's going to be your first die, and it has a 2.5-inch cut square, a 4.5-inch cut square, and two 2-inch half square finished triangles in the center. You're also going to get a mat to go with that and a die pick. And the die pick is going to be what you use, Lynn, to clean out your die. If you get any threads caught down there, you don't want to dig them out with your fingernails like I have tendency to do. You want to use the die pick because they are sharp. So
that's great. So let's talk a little bit about the Go Cutter and all the wonderful things here as well. The Go is very portable. It weighs about 15 pounds, and it also folds up, as you can see, for storage. So it's easy if you don't have a lot of space, you can find a real small space for it when it's folded up.
And that's where mine is.
And then to use it, all you do is open it up. So nothing difficult about that.
Okay, so we're ready to get going. Lynn's going to get some fabric out so we can start cutting.
All right, so we're going to use our value die here, and we are going to cut the half square triangles that are part of our block, the pinwheel block, and then the 2.5-inch square.
Right.
The first key thing that you need to keep in mind is that you want to cut your fabric on the lengthwise grain. So if you have a piece of fabric like I do here that has the selvage edge, your lengthwise grain will be where your salvage edge is facing you. So you want to make sure that you have that salvage edge facing you if you do have it on your fabric. And Erica, will you show us how to find it if you don't have the salvage edge?
If you don't have a salvage edge, your best way is to give it a little tug. And if you tug it 2 directions, you're going to notice more give in one. So this way we're getting a lot of pull. This one not so much. We want to have it so that that not pulling side is going to be your straight of grain. We want that straight of grain always to head through your cutter. And for this shape, we're going to go ahead, we're going to be cutting half square triangles. We're going to put right sides together. This is going to be another great time-saving tip, and you'll see why in just a minute.
All right, and because of the two-tone foam on your die, you can easily see how Erica laid that right over the shape so that you are saving as much fabric as possible. And you can layer your fabrics like we've got here, and you want to always, you'll take the width of your shape and you'll add just a 1/2 inch to that, and then that will just make sure that you're covering your blades. Now the other thing that you can do is you can cut with the fabric strips, and again, just allow for that extra 1/2 inch on either side, and I've got my selvage facing me, and this we can fan fold. So that's another way that you save time.
Absolutely.
And this makes it quick and easy, especially if you're cutting a ton of shapes of the same shape of the same fabric. So I've got 6 layers. You can cut up to 6 layers with the Go dies. And then we're just going to let this hang off here. And then next up, we put our cutting mat on top.
Now the cutting mat needs to cover the blades completely that you're cutting on, but you can use both sides of your cutting mat, Lynn. You can move it around a little bit side to side to prolong the life of that mat.
Great tips. I also wanted to point out, so we have a 6x6 mat, and this is great to use if you're just cutting those 2.5-inch squares over and over for a quilt. You can use a smaller mat. You don't have to use the large mat that fits your die board.
That's right.
For this, we're going to go ahead and use the 6x6.
And there is a great fabric cutting guide in your little instruction booklet. We set up to 6 layers of fabric, and we do recommend you always start light and work up. If at any time you start to feel resistance from your cutter, that's a key to yourself to go ahead and back off. With a thicker fabric like a flannel or a wool, you're not going to cut as many layers.
That's right. You want to definitely, with flannel, start with one.
Absolutely.
And that may be all that you can cut, especially with the rag shapes. So here we have our perfectly cut half square triangle. We've got the dog ears already cut for you.
Absolutely.
And I'll let Erica sew those together. I'm going to give you both.
And if I was doing a lot of squares, I would just sit and chain piece all of these together at once so that I was good to go.
There you go. And all of our geometric shapes are designed with the standard 1/4-inch seam allowance. So that's good to know that you're not adjusting for that. I'm going to go ahead and put our 2.5-inch squares will be our corner pieces in our block.
And that dog ear will serve as a great guide for you on that 1/4-inch too. And we'll show you how that presses out here. Because we've got those dog ears cut, you are not going to have to do any trimming. So that's another step that you're saving right there. We've taken it straight off of the die. We've gone straight onto the sewing machine, pressed it open, and it is ready to go right there. And we've got another one here ready to go.
Okay, and I noticed you press towards the dark.
I do. I always press towards my dark side. And then I would go ahead and sew these together to finish that last row, and then put 2 and 2 together. Now when I'm putting my rows together, Lynn, I like to take advantage of our accuracy. And so I will pin, maybe more than some quilters, but I like to pin so that I know I'm getting those perfect corners. So I would put those seams together, match them up, and put pins at each one of those little junctions just to make sure we're lined up perfectly. And that's how we get these perfect corners.
Right, which it's really important, especially for beginner quilters, that you have a great experience. And with AccuQuilt, because of the accuracy, you have a great experience. Right out of the gate. I also wanted to mention that there's so many things you can do with these block patterns, really just even by your fabric choice.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I don't know if we mentioned it, but we're using Robert Kaufman fabrics here today for ours. In the back of the book, you're going to see some 15 more block ideas that you can make by using just 5 more dies added to your collection. And there's even more inspiration available on our website.
Wonderful. And then we also have a wonderful blog that you're going to want to follow. And we have Quilters Spotlight that is also on our website.
That's right. So we hope that when you get done with your creation, you'll go to Quilters Spotlight and share a picture of your quilt so you can be inspiration for someone else.
We want to see a lot of these samplers up on Quilters Spotlight, don't we? Follow us on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and Twitter.
And remember, with the Go Cutter, you can cut time
so you can quilt more.